the same destination.
Yeah, I like that conversation.
Yeah,
it was
that
quite philosophical.
It was quite poetic, actually.
I would have liked Janelle in the middle of it, though.
No, because... well, Alfie was saying to me, well, I suppose having a white woman sat in the middle of it kind of...
Oh, so let's pretend she wasn't there.
Well. No, but they can't have her there. It's the timeline is fucked. Oh, you can erase white people. That don't matter. She's a bit of Tipex.
They could have done a flashback.
Oh yeah, they could have. Actually.
They could have done that if they really wanted to.
They could have. No, they wanted to do the bad CGI. Oh yeah, so Davon said same destination, and Kaysar said, and hopefully I'll see you there. Oh, isn't that sweet?
Kaysar's such a kind of noble man.
He is.
He's kind of too good for the show.
He is too good for it. He is too good for it. I thought that was quite sweet. Obviously, we won't go to our opinion on religion or stuff like that. Obviously, well,
we can.
We can, but
I'm not a religious person, but I'm respectful of people that are.
So am I. Completely. I'm respectful of whatever you want to do, but
I do think the whole halal meat thing is a bit kind of iffy for me, but they shock the animal and stuff before they cut the throat.
Look, eating meat. If you eat meat, you're guilty. Don't matter whether it's halal, whatever sort of meat.
By what method it's killed.
Yeah, if you're taking a life, you're taking that life, and you should feel guilty for it. And I eat meat, and I feel guilty for it.
Yeah.
And I think umming and ahhing about, well, this is that, this is organic, this is that. You're still taking something's life. So
yeah.
I do agree. Halal does seem cruel.
Bit gruesome.
And I certainly know Morrissey's thoughts on it. But.
Morrissey vegetarian?
He's vegan.
Right.
Morrissey did a hell of a lot for animal rights. A hell of a lot. It's a shame he's sort of ruined his sort of political legacy. Really. But anyway, that's another story. But I do think, it had a life in a field, or it was this, it was that. I just think it's still wrong to eat that food. The truth
is, like,
it's still wrong.
Our meat consumption is so far removed from the reality of where it came from, and we're all comfortable with that. That's the truth. We are. Like, you buy meat in a pack, and you don't think about the process of animal to farm to bolt in the head or electric shock or whatever.
No. Unless you go see Morrissey in concert and have to sit through Meat is Murder, where he shows the cows in the meat in the abattoir.
Right.
Oh
no.
Honestly, so I just look at my feet for the whole song.
But the thing is, perhaps like the practice of halal meat, the methodology, perhaps it is a bit more to like remind you of where this meat came from.
I bet it ain't. I bet it's some fucking bullshit reason. But I don't know. I
tend to think that halal meat is not quite as good though. Because the whole point of it is the blood drains out. So, for example, with beef, you can't make a good halal beef burger.
Oh.
Because you need the juices and the blood in the meat
I see.
for it to be good and kind of like, what's the word? Sumptuous kind of juicy kind of meat. Yeah. And I know that because Honest Burgers, a brand that I really love, they don't do a halal beef burger, and they just won't because it can't deliver the same quality that they want, but they do a halal chicken burger.
I see. That makes sense. I've been watching that show Alone, where they do kill animals on their food.
We saw a bit of that at the end of last week's pod when we were off our face.
Did we?
And that woman had got all those burns, and they had to airlift her out. Do you remember?
No. Was that Alone?
I think so. Oh, is that Naked and Afraid?
Oh, yeah, that was it. Alone is like that, but it's more sophisticated.
They're not naked.
But they're not naked. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Fucking hell, man. Oh, God, it was wasted. Anyway, they kill squirrels and rabbits and shit on there, and it's like, it's horrible, because they don't actually need to be doing it, because it's just kind of like a game show, to be honest. But it does, sort of gives you respect for them, because you're like, wow, if you don't do that, you're going home on this thing.
You're
like,
going home. Kill the squirrel or you're going home.
I don't know, there's something kind of admirable about it, and they go, oftentimes they'll kill the animal, and they'll...
Oftentimes.
What's happened to
Very
them?
American.
They'll kill the animal, and they'll be like, I'm so sorry, especially the women.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm so sorry, thank you for giving me this meal.
Yeah.
And they're very connected to it, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's because you're faced with a context where you can't just go to the shop, isn't
No.
it? And I've seen that as well on The Island with Bear Grylls, and they always like end up... Like, one of the main... Have you watched The Island?
I watched it. Didn't it have that guy from Breaking Bad on it? Was that the one with Bear Grylls?
Celebrity one.
Oh yeah,
with Roxanne Pallet. I didn't see that.
Yeah,
series.
I watched a bit of that one because I like that guy from Breaking Bad, RJ Mitty.
So I started, but I didn't finish that one. I do still want to catch up on it. But I don't know, most seasons of The Island, there's kind of it all kind of builds to them catching and killing a caiman or a crocodile.
Oh right, yeah.
And that whole series, they play that loop of Bear Grylls going, oh, if they want to eat, they're going to have to find it, catch it, and kill it. Like, there's this like, constantly happening. It's constantly being looped, so you know that eventually it's going to be like a kill.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, same as what you were saying. I feel like once they kill it and they butcher it, they are really grateful for that meal. And it does change their relationship with meat in that moment, at least. I'm sure they all return to normal once they get back to fucking Waitrose and Walmart, wherever else they get their meat.
And I'm not saying it is obviously it is better to eat organic and free range than battery.
But not everyone
meat.
can afford it. That's
not
the
everyone
problem.
can afford it, and it would just be better if everyone was just
vegan. You said you think everyone's going to be vegan one day, don't
I
you?
do. I honestly do, but I think it'll be a while. I think it'll be
hundreds of years, I would say.
Yeah, maybe 500.
If we make it that far.
500 years. Well, you never know. The climate might be so fucked that they have to do it. You know, all the greenhouse gases and cows farting and stuff like that.
But they also think that one day we might have to eat bugs, don't they? Like rely on bugs for protein.
Ooh. Well, thankfully we'll be dead.
As an alternative.
So then the conversation moved on to
George Floyd, wasn't it?
Yeah. They. What have you got?
Kaysar said, "You don't humanise the people you've been taught to hate," and it seemed to flip onto this conversation, onto this like line of subject line out of nowhere. I wasn't really sure.
Oh, it's probably just the bad.
Have you got any more?
Yeah, no, I haven't got the actually, after Kaysar said, and hopefully I'll see you there, I've put, if not, BB25. Carry on.
It's a really valid point that Kaysar made about not humanising people you've been taught to hate.
He
but
said,
it kind of... Go on.
He said when a black person is killed, the first thing they ask is, did they have a criminal record?
Yeah. Whenever I think about like dehumanizing language is something that I've only sort of recently sort of become switched onto. Woke to.
No, I'm the woke one in this relationship.
And I think I read about it in Akala's.
Actually, you are more woke than me.
Akala's book. Oh, thanks.
You actually are.
In Akala's book, and the massive example that I'll never forget is when Katie Hopkins referred to immigrants as cockroaches, and it's amazing how by doing that you can take away all humanity from a person's existence, and they become equated to like a bug, which a bug and a cockroach is something people want to eradicate most of the time. And are really hard to fucking kill, actually. Cockroaches, aren't they?
Yeah.
A cockroach. shout out, Brett. So, the idea that he was talking about, you don't humanise people you've been taught to hate. In my head, it was like, it's almost saying that people can't help what they've been taught, in a way. I didn't know if it was kind of like letting people off the hook. Or it was just purely observational.
I feel like it was observational. He said, Dave.
It's probably like rationalising it, really. I suppose.
Yeah, I think he was rationalising. Dave on said, "How does that even work?" And Kaysar said, "Because it's not their story. They don't own the narrative of these were the bad people. No, I've written this down wrong. These were bad people, so we can lock them up and kill them in broad daylight." And then Davon said, "We wrote letters, they couldn't read. We wrote speeches, they were deaf. Who else has to die? I have brothers and sisters who are scared to go outside." Oh, I think she said brothers, actually.
Yeah,
that was very poetic, wasn't it? What the fuck?
What was it again? We wrote letters, they couldn't read.
They couldn't read. We wrote speeches, they were deaf. That's like some fucking Malcolm X
that was
shit
really
here,
good.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
That was very moving.
And without Kaysar, we probably wouldn't have this level of this discussion, I don't think. I mean, there has been a bit, I think, but possibly with...
You would have it with Day and Bay, probably.
Yeah, but I don't think to this level of this intellectual level, because I think it's something that Kaysar really reflects on a lot in life anyway, and he really feels it's an important thing to talk about. And I would say it's even his motivation for going back into Big Brother. I don't think he even really went in to win Big Brother. I think
hope not.
I think he went in more to, shine the light on things.
He said that, didn't he? He said, Davon said she was worried when the police were behind her in her car.
Yeah, and also, Davon probably drives a really nice car.
Yeah.
And this happens in the UK, and I'm sure it happens in America, that police racially profile black drivers of nice cars.
Just a bit.
And they stop them, and they go, oh, it's because there's a lot of car fests in this area. Or they say, oh, because... a lot of drug dealers drive cars like this. And I've heard Akala talk about this loads of times. He said he was stopped. If you don't know who Akala is, he's like a hip-hop artist and a kind of intellectual over here. And the brother of Miss Dynamite.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was this the guy who... it's probably a different person because there's probably so many cases. Did you see that guy who was doing an interview for Channel 4 News about being stopped in his car? And the police stopped him on the way. I don't know if it's the way there or the way back. They fucking smashed his window. Cause he was,
yes, no, I did see that. And he was screaming.
See that?
He was like,
they just left his car like that. It's
I didn't give a fuck.
I
know, it's terrible.
I was just like so shocked by that. And to black people, that's probably not even shocking at all. I was just like, what the fuck? Like, what gives them the right to come in and smash your fucking window when you're just driving to a work opportunity?
Exactly, just because you're the police, it's okay. No, that's not the same guy, but Akala had been stopped, and I think, they said, oh, drug dealers drive a car like this. And he was, like, on his way to give, like, a lecture at, like, a college or something in London. Shit. Like, it's ridiculous.
And they stopped someone recently, didn't they? Who was it? Was she a politician or... Can't remember who she was. Yeah, and they stopped an athlete recently as well, didn't they? I can't remember who that was. There's such a long way to go. A very long way to go.
There is.
So Davon said, I have to come in and play as a black woman. There are people who are not going to relate to me or look to me, I think she said, or look like me. She
described herself as a fish out of water with people who can't relate to me,
I mean, in this season, there's
fortunately there's like more than usual.
Is there 5 people of colour?
Kaysar,
Kevin, David,
Bailey, David, Davon. That's more than you'd expect in a US Big Brother season.
Yeah, and that's because of what happened last year, I'm sure.
And they would have had, if it weren't for COVID, but meatballs.
And Casey, is she Native American?
Filipino, I think.
Okay.
So there would have been even a higher percentage.
Fuck, we didn't have them, but... and then Kaysar in the diary room said, make sure you have the courage to speak up and say the right things. Conversations like this are why I came back. I couldn't sit idly by and watch the world burn. And then he said, there's a reason I got called after all these years during a time like this. It's like he got called up to fucking... join the army. You just got called
up. Big Brother needs you.
Sit in fucking Big Brother for a couple of weeks.
This is Big Brother. We need you.
Yeah.
The world is burning.
Have you got a fire extinguisher?
By the way, Janelle's there, and you can form an alliance again.
And Janelle was basically saying in this interview that, like, about Kaysar, she's like, oh, he don't know what he's doing. Like, he can't hack it without me, sort of thing. Like, in a nice way, but it's just so funny. So that was it. That was an interesting conversation, though, wasn't it? That was.
And it sparked a bit of conversation amongst us as well.
And that was the sort of stuff we were talking about. The interesting stuff that isn't game related. That we get to know people as people.
I think would end up on the cutting room floor. So
I really like Davon a lot, but I am a bit concerned about her game. I think her and Bailey are just ripe to get picked off by that big alliance. Don't you?
Oh, absolutely. Unless they start making some promises now.
They should have... Can make no promises. They should have just recognised your position in the pecking order. It must be so hard to see in there because no one recognises it.
To see. Hard to see.
But recognise that you are not at the top of that alliance.
Game
you might as well make a new alliance and be the top of that alliance. It seems so obvious from the outside, though.
But they are in an alliance, aren't they?
Who?
Bailey and Davon.
Yeah, they're in that alliance,
aren't they,
but they're like
6-6?
They are, but don't you remember? That's just like a fake alliance to keep them happy, kind of thing.
Exactly. Well, how do you know it? You can't. It's hard to know, isn't it?
Exactly. So, this was interesting.
Well, the have not.
The have not pick. Did you notice the bit of Controversy.
I'm not sure.
Bailey picked Danny, and Danny went, "I'm coming after you."
But it was always like a joke.
It weren't a joke.
Was it not?
Bailey said, "Well,
like you better shoot your shot." Yeah.
Did you not see Danny's face afterwards?
No, what was she like?
She looked pissed off.
Did
She was
she?
like smiling, you know, when someone's fake smiling.
Yeah.
And then she was like that.